take a second to talk to you about underdogs.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird game nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call him Man Dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season here, early time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
What is going on, you guys? It's your boy Joe Castro, aka Philly Fresco. Make sure y'all can hear me. Make sure everybody can hear me beautifully. Y'all can hear me good. Y'all can hear me good. But it is Philly the podcast. So today we're gonna talk, man. Look, this tag period. I don't know what you want to call it. It's not free agency really, but I guess it's like the precursor to free agency. We were waiting to see who got tagged. Only 6 franchise tags among the league, across the league, I should say. Not what you're used to, right? And excuse my voice. I've been yelling over people all week at Indy, so this is what happens. But at the end of the day, I was kind of expecting more people to get tagged. Obviously they didn't. I think 3 people were running backs. Obviously Saquon Barkley, one of those guys, Tony Pollard, one of those guys, and then 3 of them were not running backs, right? Eagles did not use any of their tags. They weren't really necessarily expected to. This was the news that we got, coming into this week, coming into these couple of days, coming into this day, waiting until 4 o'clock, obviously. So Chauncey Gardner-Johnson didn't get tagged. He hasn't been re-signed. There is some good news. I have been hearing that Brandon Graham is going to be re-signing. And, I put that out on my Twitter. Someone posted it on Instagram, and Brandon Graham himself apparently liked it. So, I mean, look, it could be happening. It could be happening soon. We'll see what happens with that. I think that the elephant in the room right now is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I think that everybody wanted to see CGJ either re-signed by this point or tagged. Now, one thing I will say, and then we'll start getting into comments and everything. I will say this. There are other pieces that have to move in order for us to do anything with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, right? As it stands, our cap doesn't allow for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to come back on this roster. So maybe a Brandon Graham, extension or something of the sorts is what, helps propel that movement. Maybe a restructure of Darius Slay, maybe a restructure of Lane Johnson. Now, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson did tweet, for anybody that isn't on Twitter, he did tweet a picture of his agent smiling. So I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. I mean, we'll figure it out as time goes, but I have no idea what that means. If you guys know what that means, then please let me know, because I have no idea. We'll see what happens. I mean, look, Chauncey is a guy that I think that is young enough and good enough to propel this defense for years to come. I think he's a guy that you can build around, right? Like with a Malcolm Jenkins, it was great having him here, and he was a great player. I'm not taking anything away from him, but you look at it's just the age, right? We had Malcolm Jenkins for what, 4 or 5 years. Wish we could have had him for 10. And now we're faced with a situation where we might be able to have him for 10 years. So I want Chauncey Gardner back. It might not be realistic, but we'll see what happens, I guess. I guess we'll see what happens. You said it's not his agent. Who was it then? Who is that guy? Who is that guy, Mr. Rudy Poo? I need to know, because somebody told me it was his agent. I need to know who it is. I need to know who it is. What's going on, Twist D Jigga? I'm going to give you a moderator. I've seen you in here a couple times. What's going on, Drew? What's going on? And just for everybody to know, we are going to open this up. If you guys want to talk later at 7 o'clock, I'm going to open up the link that you see pinned to the comments. If you guys want to ask any questions, whether it be about Combine or if you want to just talk about, what's going on right now, that will definitely be an option at 7 o'clock. It's going to be an hour long, 7 to 8 o'clock. So definitely hit that link up on the pinned chat if you want to join that in a little bit. But we're going to get to that. Right. This was expected. Drew, it was expected. But at the end of the day, it's like, look, I said this before. I feel like the Eagles have to do something different. At some point, you're going to have to do something different. You can't continuously say that the safety spot doesn't have value when we've seen the value that a good safety adds to this team. You can't continuously tell me that linebacker doesn't add value when, again, you can say the same about that. I understand it, and I'm not gonna until it doesn't work, you can't really say that it doesn't work. But it's just, I don't know, it's frustrating. I feel like CGJ is a part of this team that we need to keep a hold of. We'll see what happens, though. We'll definitely see what happens. Twist says, I hope Howie has a deal worked out already for CGJ and can't afford to lose. We can't afford to lose him. It could be as because when you do tag somebody, that cap hit hits you immediately, right? There's no wiggle room around it. Your cap hit is now $14 million for that year. So it could be a thing of them just not wanting to necessarily pay $14 million on the cap this year. They want to find a way around that, which we know is most likely the case, or they just don't value the safety position, or they just hate me. It's one of the three at this point. Yeah, and look, GJ, QJ, I don't know. I can't. It's a lot of J's. I got faith in Howie. I do too, to a certain extent. I do, and I don't. Like, I understand their philosophy, and it has worked for the most part, but I don't know. I feel like CGJ is a different case. I feel like at safety, we've gone through so many guys. Like, you could think of Jalen Watkins, Earl Thomas, if you're Earl Wolf, excuse me, if you're that old. Nate Allen, you think of. I'm trying to think. Like, we went through so many safeties. The only good two safeties that we've had in the past like 20 years have been Brian Dawkins and Malcolm Jenkins. I'm not trying to go through that weight again. I really am not. That's my biggest thing. I don't want to go through that weight again. That's it. But Mr. Rudy Poo, I need to know who it is. Rudy Poo, I need to know who that was. Then, if it's not his agent, who was it? I think he is in a good situation. He will be back. I think he is in a good situation. Shout out to Smitty. But does he care about that? And I'm not saying he doesn't. There's a lot of people out there that are about their money, and they should be. At the end of the day, there's no 401k. There's no retirement plan when it comes to, football. You get your time, and then you don't have your time anymore. So I'm sure he wants to get his money, and God bless him. He should, but it's like, why are we sitting here stressing it? I don't want to stress. What's going on, Scoop Doo? What's going on, brother? Scott Bates, what's going on? I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. I can't call it. Flipping the bird 85. I like that name. Howie better have a plan. He sure better. I mean, look, we've been in this situation before, maybe not recently, right? As big of a turnover as we have on defense, but we've seen him turn over this roster before, right? We've seen it before. My biggest thing is we don't have a core on the defense. Like, who's your go-to guys on defense for the next 5 to 10 years? Who are you looking at? Maybe Hassan Reddick, right? He's on like a 3-4 year deal. I think 3-year deal. I mean, who are you really looking at? Josh Sweat is a guy that I like, right? Maybe Jordan Davis takes that next step. Nakobe Dean, you're hoping, takes that next step. But realistically, who's on this team that you're looking at for the next 5 to 10 years? And to me, that's the question you got to ask yourself if you're Howie Roseman. To me, that's the question you have to ask yourself. I mean, it really does come down to that. Who are you going to build this team around? We've flipped a lot of rosters, but there's always been that core, right? You've always had that Ertz. You've always had that offensive line. You've always had that defensive line. How are we going to flip this roster? What is your priorities? That's what we're going to see, and we'll learn over the next couple of days. Tyler Wallace says, if CGJ leaves, let me add you as a moderator as well. Shout out to you. I appreciate you joining the YouTube side of things. I believe you're from Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. But he says, if CGJ leaves, we are drafting Branch at 10 or Antonio Johnson at 30. I love Antonio Johnson. I wouldn't mind Brian Branch. At 10, I tend to find myself having the argument of, like, what's the positional value? What do you really want? I feel like a defensive, end is probably a higher value right there. But safety, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I'm not going to be mad at that. Shout out to everybody. Again, we got 34 people in the chat. If you guys want to talk, if you guys want to chat, if you guys want to talk anything about this, anything about Eagles, let me know. We do have the link, pinned to the top of the chat. You can go ahead and join through there at 7:00. I will be hopping over to there, and we can have an open conversation. Whatever you guys want to talk about. It will still be streaming. It will still be streaming, but it's a call-in. All right, where was I? I think Jalen Carter and Emmanuel Forbes is the plan. Let Javon walk. I think we will get signed. I mean, look, if Jalen Carter is your plan, that worries me. if Jalen Carter is your plan, that worries me. I understand that we look at, his legal issues and we're thinking he's going to drop, but that's not a given. You know what I'm saying? And that's no shot to you, saying that. I'm just saying that's not a given. So if Howie Roseman, as the businessman and the GM that we all know he is, his plan is to say someone's going to drop, I I find that hard to believe, and I find that hard to have faith in, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens there, but I hope not. I really do hope not. Is it true they have to restructure first to sign him? Who are we talking about? CGJ? If we wanted to re-sign CGJ, and I don't quote me on this because I'm there might be some loophole here. As it stands with the cap hit, we don't have enough money to keep him on next year. If his cap hit next year is $14 million, there would have to be either restructuring, cutting, whatever there is, there has to be something done in order for us to have that $14 million that he's going to be, supposedly demanding next year. Brandon, shout out to Brandon, my guy Brandon. If you guys watch the channel long enough, you know who Brandon is. But he was talking to me, he was saying that, I think they're trying to get him like $8 million on the cap and the rest kind of off, maybe get some, incentives in there, which is very, very possible. I know that this Eagles team is trying to find the cheapest route of doing what they got to do. And, you can't blame them for that. But at the end of the day, bring Chauncey Gardner-Johnson back. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the very day, bring my guy back. All right, where we are. I don't know. His agent is Kevin Connor is black. Okay, all right. So it might not be his. It's probably not his agent. It probably was not his agent. I want to know who that was. Then I want to know who that was. I need to know. We got to figure it out because I thought it was just like a meme at first. I thought it was maybe like some rich YouTuber or something like that, and he was just saying he got paid. Now I want to know what's going on, Midwest Eagles fan. What's going on? Hey, it's been a while since we did these call-ins, so I'm really hoping that we start getting people over to JAANN and we can do these call-ins big because I can have up to 5 people up there. So it's like a nice little round table. So definitely, I hope to see y'all all there. And that'll be in 12 minutes. CGJ left NOLA because he wanted to get paid. I mean, yeah. I wonder what he would have done if there was NILs, right? That would have been interesting to see what happened. And you get to kind of learn that about a player early on in their careers, what they do when there's NILs and money involved. Rebuilding this team. What's going on, Lonely Bee? First of all, rebuilding this team, if we do it the way we should, we'll have to be through the draft. If it will take 2 drafts, no matter what we do. We might get 4 third round compensation picks next year. Yeah, it's very possible. You look at this, free agency class that we have, it's going to be very hard to sign anything, comparing to what we're losing. So I'm sure we're going to probably get the maximum of picks, which is 4. So it would be probably split between 3rd and 4th, but you are going to get some pretty good compensatory picks. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I hope that's not their full plan, though, because if you have $33 million, like cap space isn't winning you games. At the end of the day, cap space isn't going to win you games. Or if you have $8 million, they'll bring somebody on. Like, I find it hard to believe you don't restructure anybody. You don't save money anywhere. I don't know, but it could be one of those really quiet off seasons and the goal is long term. I hope not, though. I really do hope not. You are the Twitter person. Hey, that's what's up. I appreciate you. Hit that thumb, family. Yeah, hit that like button. Hit that like button while you're in here. We got 40 people between the channels. I only see the YouTube comments, but shout out to everybody else that's commenting. If you want to comment, come on to the YouTube side or come on to the JAANN side. We're about to switch over to the call in a couple minutes. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But shout out to everybody. What's going on, Philly girl? What's going on? I just want Jamar Gibbs in this offense. I mean, yeah, hey, a good running back. There's a lot of good running backs in this draft. I've been one to say let's not get too stuck on one person. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of good running backs in this draft. So we should be able to make a good decision when it comes to grabbing a guy. You know what I'm saying? Probably trying to restructure contracts. Players might want to listen to offers so they can see what the market is set at. That's very true. And Chauncey might be one of those guys. It's kind of interesting that he hasn't had there hasn't been much news about that these teams want Chauncey. They're looking to talk to him type stuff. I'm kind of surprised you don't see that, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see what his market actually is, right? Besides Gibbs and Bijan, who had the best combine by the running backs? That's a great question. I'd have to look at it like through the whole thing to really give you an answer because I'm not gonna lie, my eye was kind of elsewhere. I have to look at those numbers. I have to I'll look it up real quick. How much time I got? Yeah, I got a little bit of time. Hold on, I'll look it up real quick before we switch over to the call in. Because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like Devin Kane, he stood out because I knew he was gonna run fast. I thought he was gonna run faster, if I'm being honest with you. But 4.32 is not bad in any means. But I thought he was going to run faster, to be honest. Bijan's number wasn't crazy. Zach Charbonnet kind of disappointed me. Tank Bigsby and Rashawn Johnson. Those are two guys that we like. Cam Peoples is a guy that I really like. For him to run 4.6 kind of hurt my feelings. I'm not gonna lie. Nobody really, I won't say anybody really stood out to me. Maybe Chase Brown 4.43. That was pretty good. That was actually kind of impressive. His 10-yard split was pretty impressive. Obviously, his vert was pretty impressive. Nobody as far as running back stood out to me combine wise. I think that it's the tape that really stands out to me on a lot of these guys. I kind of knew what they were going to be, as far as what they were coming into the combine is, as far as athletically. So I wouldn't say anything really surprised me. Maybe a couple guys that, like I said, their numbers weren't as crazy as I thought, because Devin Achane, and I hope I'm saying his last name right, but he said when I was there at the combine, he was like, I'm going to run pretty fast. And that was kind of the whole topics that everybody was bringing up. They wanted to know how fast he thought he was going to run. But running backs really didn't I can't say that. I don't want to say they did bad. They just didn't really stick out to me. The Philly special. What's going on, Josh? What up, Joe? Love to see BG heart your tweet. Definitely need to see BG stay in Philly. Yeah, just just to reiterate, I did put out on Twitter. I was told by some people that I trust that Brandon Graham is working on a deal with the Eagles to come back. So that was something that I just tweeted out, and I said that I would assume his price would be around a 2-year, $11 million contract. Someone retweeted that, or reposted it, I should say, on Instagram, and Brandon Graham himself actually liked it. So it might be real. I thought it was just kind of a rumor. I thought it was interesting to hear, you know what I'm saying, and kind of exciting, especially in a day that we're not getting much news. But it seems like it might be a little bit more than a rumor. So hopefully we see BG back. I want Gibbs so bad. Gibbs is a good player. I love Tank too. Talking to Tank, I asked him what type of player he wants to be remembered as what type of player he wants to be known as. And he said he wants to be Tank. He wants to be one of the best to ever do it when it all is said and done. So I like that type of answer. You know what I'm saying? I like that type of answer. He said that's tampering, Joe. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, is it tampering though if he's a free agent? I mean, technically we just have this window to tag him. We could talk. No, is that really tampering? That's kind of weak. I'll take my L on Sunday though. I said Gibbs was a 4.4 guy. Running a 4.36 was a good time for him. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't bad at all. Bijan is mid. I like Bijan. Bijan is far from mid. Bijan Robinson is I think a top 5 to 10 player in this draft, regardless of position, maybe even top 5 to 8. Realistically, I'm having a hard time thinking of 8, 9 people, even 7 people better than Bijan Robinson. So, I mean, he's a top 5 to 7 player, top 5 to 8. He's one of the greater players in this draft. So he's far from mid. He might go middle of the top 10. You know what I'm saying? Philly didn't catch a lot of lives. How was the trip in total, your experience being credentialed? It was amazing. It really was amazing. Thank you for asking. It was definitely not going to be my last, and shout out to Fran Duffy. You guys know I've had Fran Duffy on the show a number of times, right? But being able to be there, and I put this on Twitter, and, he liked it and said thank you and everything. But being able to just kind of stand there and be next to Fran Duffy asking, these prospects questions, and to be 100% honest, just kind of seeing how he does his job and just watching him. And it was amazing, to be honest. It was everything I could have hoped for. And I think I did well, and that's probably the best part to me, is that I don't feel like I messed it up. I feel like I did a good job. So I was very, very happy with the experience. And like I said, hopefully it's not the last time that I experience it. So if y'all keep on, keep on showing that love, then it won't be the last time I experience it. But we're gonna keep working hard. All right, where we are. I think it's pronounced A chain. Okay. Well, he should spell it that way then. No, let me stop going. Had 1 year in Bama. Josh, he's never played contact ball and it shows. Yeah, and that 1 year was his highlight year. I mean, Josh, we'll see what happens. Maybe you have the hot take of the year. Maybe you are the guy that calls it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say you aren't. Maybe you're the guy that calls it out. Hangman, what's going on? Howie will stick to his old ways, build with the trenches first. It might not look sexy on paper, but that's how you build the win long term. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. We'll give you a moderator. What does Luffy say? He says, "Yeah, I agree, Twiz, but Bijan is better. Calling him mid just makes him look ignorant." Hold on, say that again. What? Yeah, I mean, hey, I think I've seen your hair a couple times, so we gonna we gonna go ahead and hit you with the. I'm gonna hit you with the moderator. You know what I'm saying? Let's see a couple more comments before we switch on over to the call in. Howie would pass on a blue chip player, which is ludicrous. I mean, Woody though, like, all right. So if you have Paris Johnson there, if you have Tyree Wilson, if you have Joey Porter there, or whoever you call the Christian Gonzalez is my favorite, so I'll put him there. If you have Christian Gonzalez and you have Bijan, can you really say he's passing up on anybody? Like, he has a good amount of options. You can only take one, right? I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. What's going on, Edward Valencia? Roman here. What's going on, Rome? What's going on, brother? Gonzalez at 10. I would not be mad at Gonzalez at 10. I think Bijan's good, still good, but for another scheme, I feel Gibbs fits us better. All right. I thought you was just, trolling a little bit. So I'll give you that. I'll give you a moderator now, Josh. I like that. That was real. That was real talk. I can respect that. Honestly, and look, I'll say this and then we'll switch on over. I'll say this. I don't think the Eagles need to go running back at number 10. But if they do, there's a lot of ways that you can make it make sense, right? There's a lot of ways that you can look at that and say, okay, maybe fiscally that makes sense. So I'm not gonna sit here and say he can't do anything, he shouldn't do anything, he won't do this, he won't do that. We really don't know. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We got 40 people in the chat. If you guys could do me the biggest favor, take 1 second. If you could just take 1 second, I'm gonna look at you because this is rude to not look at people when you asking them for something. If you could take a second and just hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and if you guys want to ask any questions, I am gonna avert my attention from the chat right now. But if you guys want to ask any questions, feel free to join the JJAANN, man. We are going to head on over to there. So give me 1 second to make sure everything's good on that side. But I'll be right back. All right, let me know if you guys can still hear me. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. So we should be good. We're going to start bringing people onto the stage. Shout out to everybody in here already. Let's get some people on the stage. If y'all can hear me, let me know.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you clearly.
Yes, maybe in here.
What's good? What's good?
What's going on? What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Loud and clear.
What's going
Most
on?
definitely.
I think I have my. Can't hear you right now.
Can you hear me, Joe?
Who that was, Coach?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
I can hear you on here. I can't hear you on my phone. Hold on, let me get my AirPods out real quick. Gotta. All right. I think I can hear y'all now. What up? What up? What up? What up? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
good with you? What's good with you? You all right?
I'm chilling, man. I can't call it. I cannot call it. How y'all been?
I'm nervous.
Oh, good, man.
Who said I'm nervous? Who said I'm nervous? Hold up.
Smitty said I'm nervous. Goddamn it,
I feel you. I
bro.
feel you.
We ain't do nothing. We ain't made no moves. Nothing. God damn.
It's yeah. I mean, look. I mean, what? I'll ask this to the whole chat while everybody in here. What did we really expect them to tag him, or did we expect the re-signing? Because I'm gonna be real. I
I
expected
expected
us
the
to
deal.
re-sign.
I expected the deal.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
expected
was
the
more
deal.
hoping
Not
for
the
a
tag. I
resign,
ain't
like an
want the tag.
extension. I
Listen,
didn't want the
man,
tag either.
I'm sick they let CJ go because he a dog, man. He wanted to, he a dog. He the
But he
edge
not technically gone yet though.
that
He's
the
not
defense
gone
needed.
yet,
They said
though.
we had to
He's not
restructure
gone
like
yet.
Slay or some other shit, and then we could
Yeah,
re-sign
we,
him or
we
something
gotta
like that.
we gotta restructure some people before we
They
really
said we didn't
start.
have the cap.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
we
we
can
Yeah,
gotta.
but
restructure,
we can't tag anymore, but we can still definitely re-sign him.
yeah,
Yeah, we could resign him.
if we could restructure Slay and Lane, that will go a long way to getting him back. And you know, if we do
Yeah,
re-sign Brandon Graham, I think his cap hit next year because even if he doesn't play for us, it's like $9 million. So if we could bring that down, then we good. If we could re-sign him
We
for
can
something cheap,
easily.
we good.
if we can give them that whole 9 over the next 2 years, that'd be beautiful.
That would be even better. Yeah, I would take
So
that
what
too.
deal he need? Like a 3 year or a 4 year?
Who?
I think it's 4. I think 4 is how they
Oh,
can stretch
4?
the money
Oh,
out.
how
I
they
think
stretch the money? Yeah.
For who? For Brandon Graham or Chauncey?
CJ.
Oh,
CJ.
CJ probably looking at like a 4, maybe 5 year deal. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's funny because it's like I feel like if you look at the Eagles, we've had such bad safeties. Like we've been competitive, but when we
Oh
won
God.
things, we've had good safeties. You know what I'm saying? And it's like outside of Chauncey now and Malcolm Jenkins and
Either we had
Brian
good
Dawkins.
safeties or good one-on-one corners.
Yeah, and there's been years we didn't have either. There's been,
Yeah,
we didn't have either. I just don't want to
Yeah,
fall back into that
you're
like
welcome.
routine of having nobody on your team.
I think if he let CJ go, he's gonna we'll probably go all defensive draft at least.
I can see us drafting Branch at like somewhere like 10 or like trade up back a little bit and get Branch.
Yeah, I really see CJ
I
changing
like
our whole
Branch.
draft if he leave, bro. That shit
And
really
we
going.
seen Brandon Graham get signed, but most of the Eagle fans are like, man, we don't really care for him. Like we could let him walk.
I don't know
We ready for
why
that
people hate
CJ.
on Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham, honestly though, I will say this, and like somebody from All About the Birds told me about this. So shout out to them. We were just kind of talking, and they were like, if Brandon Graham does resign, that brings down that cap hit, and that helps you resign to Chauncey Gardner. So Eagles fans, maybe we just got to be patient with the process. Maybe this could be just the process of maybe bringing CGJ back. That's what I'm hoping.
Is
in
it?
my
Because
over
Hey,
in my
Castro,
over
is it true
40
that?
years, in my
Is
over
it true?
40 years of being an Eagles fan, I have never seen Eagles fans be patient.
Yeah, no facts.
I
I'm
think we did
trying.
this
I'm
last year.
trying right now. I'm
We
Hey,
trying.
did
Joe,
this
is it
last
true
year.
with restructuring we
Howie's
can
only
free up like
move
40
last
million?
year
If we
was
restructure, we
signing
could get
Hassan
like to
Reddick.
35. Say that again. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Who was that talking, Lombard?
No, like because last year we were doing the same thing with Hassan Reddick. You're like, Howie made the move, and then he's like, when is he gonna make another move? And it's just like we were we're being super impatient with it.
Howie was doing some some real ski mask stuff last off season.
I mean, that's what this offseason is
Right,
going to be. I feel
TikTok.
like
Can I get a straw?
you could probably get to like 35 mil in cap space. I know you can get to or like just over 30 between Lane and Slay alone. But you add a Brandon Graham extension, you add some stuff like that, and you could be looking at a little bit more. I think you could cut Quez and get like $2 million more if that means something to you. But I mean, they can get money, but it's like, who are they going to sign? Who? There's a lot of veterans now and a lot of young guys too on the market now. Do they just say, all right, we can't get Hargrave, let's go get Simmons because he's young? It's like it'll be really interesting if they do pull off something big, and we're just sitting here like, oh, okay. That's why you did that. All right, we'll
Or
chill.
Aton Robinson.
Well, do you think Denard Wilson getting fired is this the aftermath of this?
I still find it hard to believe Denard Wilson got fired. I haven't
We
seen it
hope not.
anywhere. I haven't seen it anywhere but him. But that one source But I mean, look, Denard Wilson, I think, was a big part of this team, and I think a lot of players, obviously on Twitter were having his back. So it could be them saying like, or at least Chauncey saying like, that's the guy I wanted to rock with, and it'll be
I don't
interesting
know.
to see who he
To be
talks to.
honest, I didn't really want Denard Wilson as a DC because I don't want DB's coach as a defensive coordinator because it would have felt like exactly like Jonathan Gannon.
Hey, not
It
only
Yeah.
would have. It would
yeah, I
have.
don't want a Gannon protege. No way, no.
Nah, he no. The thing about it is the side plays. He's a little bit more aggressive and plays more press on the outside to disrupt the receivers and stuff and knock
Yeah.
off the linemen. And that's not what Sirianni wants. Sirianni wants more of a Gannon style where guys are off coverage more. That's the
Right.
Right.
difference.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, Sirianni said that there's obviously like things that the defensive coordinator would have to do to kind of fit their idea of what their defense would be. But I mean, it's going to be interesting because I mean, we know that Nick Sirianni doesn't put his hand in the cookie jar too much when it comes to defense. So I don't know if he'll look at decide and be like, don't do that, don't do that. I think he'll obviously tell him like, this is what we like to see. We obviously want this, but there might be a little bit of leeway. If he wanted just the same thing, I think Denard would have been a better option because he knows exactly what you want, like to a T, right? Like with the Desai, you're either gonna have to teach him your whole, thought process or whole ideal of what a defense should be, or just let him kind of do what he does. And he might go more towards that. So I'm hoping he's more aggressive, especially with certain players. But I've seen good and bad about him, so it's gonna be interesting.
What I like about
Hey.
this guy is that he coached under Pete Carroll,
Yeah,
and he
Yeah,
knows
and
defense. So
he's also a Vic Fangio like protege.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even though
Hey,
that 2
Castro.
weeks Vic was with us, I don't know what he was doing, but yeah, he was, and he had a good defense when he was with the Bears. I don't know why I went through literally every B that had a team in my head except for the Bears, but yeah, the Bears, he was good with them, and obviously he had some really good players at that point, but maybe he just wants to pick his own team. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what it comes down to. We'll see.
hey,
But
Joe,
yeah,
Hey, Denard Wilson, but he with the Ravens already.
yeah, he signed this morning.
Hey, so with the Matt Patricia thing, like obviously we don't want him here, but what you feel like our linebackers are not gonna be good with him, or like
I think he'd be a good linebacker,
I
but
think everybody
it's
gonna
just
ride
him.
with
It's
Slay.
just
If
him and
Slay
Slay.
said
It's
Yeah,
he was
it's the
doing
beef with
bad,
him and Slay.
the
That's it.
defense gonna ride with Slay.
yeah,
right.
I think this is another like Denard Wilson type issue, but just like the reverse. It's like everybody. I don't think anybody really wants him player wise, but
Yeah.
schematic wise and like development wise, I think the proof's in the pudding about what he could bring to this team. But do you really want to kind of mess up a little bit of the?
What proof? What
Right,
proof?
because that
He's
hurt.
been
'Cause everybody want to see Kobe Dean ball out,
Yeah.
and they bring him in, and then that'll hurt for sure.
You
I
know, it'd be
What
pretty funny
what
though.
has he proven? Did you not see him as a head coach and running that defense in Detroit?
We ain't say
definitely,
head
but
coach.
a head coach and a
No, we didn't
defensive
say head coach.
coordinator
A
or
linebacker
position
coach
He was
coach
a
is
good. He
totally
was a good
different.
totally
coordinator.
different.
He was a
He
good.
was
Totally
a good
different.
coordinator though.
Position
Exactly.
coach.
He was a good
Yeah.
coordinator. You really think he was doing the coordinating over there in that defense in Detroit or what or on Patriots, or you think that was Bill Belichick?
It was
I
a
Y'all
little
better
bit of
definitely
stop
think
both.
it
that.
was
It was a
Patricia.
little
I
bit of
definitely
both.
think it was Patricia. I mean, Patricia definitely put his hand
Okay,
on that.
if it was Patricia, then he was a horrible because that's the defensive coordinator they had. We beat him in the Super Bowl.
I mean, that's one
Oh
game,
yeah,
though,
he
dog.
was over there too.
It's
Yeah,
literally
he
one
was the
game,
D
dog.
coordinator when we beat
That's
him in the
one
Super
game, though.
Bowl.
Hey, look, at
Hey,
the end of the day, he's not going to be the defensive coordinator. He's not going to be our head coach. He'll be a positional coach, and that's how he came up. That's how he got his stones in this game. So I think that he would be if you look
Under
at it just.
Belichick,
But what I'm
and
saying
we
is, if
just
you look
watched
at
him
it,
under Belichick again.
I feel you. I feel you. You can definitely find bad in his coaching career. But what I'm saying is if you are telling him to do one thing, what I'm saying? Just like a Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz was a terrible head coach, but he was a good defensive coordinator. There's a lot of people that are terrible head coaches or defensive coordinators that are good
Lovey
at certain
Smith.
things. Lovey Smith is a very good defensive coordinator. There's a lot of good work. We're going to see what happens, with the
Dan
guys that got
Quinn.
hired this year. There's a lot of Dan Quinn is thriving as a defensive coordinator. There's some people that just
But
are
hold
good
on,
at doing certain things.
we could all clearly see that Dan Quinn was better as a defensive coordinator than he was as a head coach from when he was with Seattle, even when he was with Atlanta, and then here in Dallas. Everybody could clearly see he was better as a DC because the defenses always played. The offenses were always suspect with Dan Quinn.
Yeah, I mean it's
Hey,
tough to run everything. That's why
hey Joe, let me ask you this: if Hargrave and possibly CGJ is not coming back, how do you think that affects the draft? And do you think us signing players depends on Jalen Hurts' contract?
Well, I'll answer that kind of backwards. I don't think that Jalen Hurts contract will really affect this year as far as our cap goes. Like it's most likely going to be an extension. It's most likely not going to have. It might get like a little bit of a raise in the cap number, but I don't think that most of his money will be on this year. I think most of it will be next year. But as far as Hargrave and you said Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, right? It's gonna be tough. I do think, as far as Hargrave goes, they are ready for that to happen, and I think that was the plan, kind of all along. That this defensively, it was going to be a defensive draft, especially for the D line. But Chauncey, I don't know how they're gonna replace that, because I do like Brian Branch, I do like Antonio Johnson, I do like a couple other guys, even one of the Brown brothers. I wouldn't, I guess, mind him in the mid rounds or something like that, but there's nobody that is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson out of the gate what he is right now. So it's going to be tough. They're going to have to try and figure something out. There are some, maybe veterans that you do maybe late towards the end of the offseason. But
If Jalen Carter drops to 10, regardless of his off the field issues, will we be dumb to pass on him?
Oh no, we drafted Jalen Carter.
I wouldn't say we're dumb to pass him, though. I do say we would draft him. But I wouldn't say we're dumb to do it if we don't. I think that those are real issues. And at the end of the day, I've said this a long time. I work with NIL deals and college students like as my regular job. And it's always kind of a conversation I have with the athletes. Like, and I even asked Dorian Thompson-Robinson when I was out at the combine, and he said he stood an extra year just to kind of understand money. And, when you get thrown a lot of money, it shows kind of sometimes who you are or who you may be, right? And we saw what he did with he was getting money in NIL deals, and that kind of led to some bad decisions. And we saw what happened. What's going to happen when you throw a bunch of millions in his face? And that could be a real question from front office.
Yeah, look at John Morant right now.
Look, exactly. So I mean, and I'm not saying, and I don't know Jalen Carter, I'm not saying that he is a bad person or he's not.
Look at Joe Mixon too.
Things happen, man. Joe Mixon, I don't know what that's going on. I want to see more.
I don't know about all that.
I can't wait for that to open up, boy. That's a crazy.
Yeah, they keep talking. They don't even know about Joe Mixon's involvement in that at all.
I want to see what that's all about. That seems like some craziness. I can't even talk on that. Yeah, it's like
they
see what's really happening.
Like Nerf guns, and then they thought they were actual guns. I'm like, how do you mistake that?
Yeah,
I know it was like really late at night, but it was still kind of.
It's a tough
and I'm sorry, if you a kid to get shot, you ain't going for no minor injuries. Something going down.
I wonder what there's a lot of questions to that situation that we gotta ask. I mean, I'm sure we'll get all the information. When I saw it, I was just like in shock. But I mean, it's true. You look at what happens when you give young men money, and sometimes it's fine, sometimes they're good and they know how to handle it, sometimes they don't. And if you get shown a red flag that they may not know how to handle money, that's a big red flag when you're at the 10th spot in the draft. You're gonna spend this money like 17
think about going to Patrick Mahomes route with the Eagles. And what I mean by that is, even we know the defense isn't going to recuperate what it's been. We've got a new DC, but could we go offense, just outscore teams and do it that way? Get a good running back, Bijan or Derrick Henry. That'll take a lot off Jalen Hurts. He's going to make an extra step this year. Do you think that we can compete even without a good defense if we bolster up that offense?
I mean, we can still get good
that's still dependent on the defense. Still got to still have a defense good enough to make some stops during the game.
Opportunistic
Kansas City didn't have a good defense.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think Kansas City got Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. That's a deadly combo.
Defense to make a few stops during the game, and your offense got to be top notch where it cannot be stopped. Period. So at least your offense got to be somewhat decent. It can't be just a complete defense.
I think if you're asking, like, can this offense kind of make up for a lot of deficiencies in the defense? I think definitely. I think our offense is good enough that they can hold the ball, right? That was a big tag that I don't think people didn't talk about enough. Yes, we were explosive. Yes, we had a great, quarterback in the running game. We had a lot of good things going well on offense, right? But one thing that we did very well when we were winning is hold the ball from other teams. So that plays into our defense. So to a certain extent, yes, we can take the pressure off whatever defense we're given. But, to everybody else's point, they're 100% right as well. You have to have something back there, right? Like you can't have me back there at safety. That's probably not going to work for you. You're the best way. But you got to have something out there. But I definitely think you're right. I think that if you have to go one or two ways, right? And to Kansas City's, to Kansas City's credit, they really haven't invested much anywhere. I mean, Juju obviously is one of their guys. Marquise Valdez, Scanty. These aren't big, contracts that they gave out. So their offense, aside from Patrick Mahomes, isn't crazy. They just gave him a crazy amount of money, and you have Andy Reid, who's a genius at the end of the day. I mean, no matter what I feel about him, after what he did to us, he's a genius when it comes to offenses. So yeah, you do have to have a good enough defense that you're in the game, but to a certain point, yeah, offenses, we can definitely, kind of mask some of our deficiencies. Thank you.
Okay, one more thing. Do you think Sirianni? Now, I love Sirianni, but I feel like he doesn't get in his coach's faces when he needs to. Like in the Super Bowl, he doesn't do that. Like he's an emotional, loving guy, kind of on the carefree side. That's my problem with Sirianni. He doesn't get in his coach's ass enough when the time needs to. Like the Super Bowl, he didn't say nothing. Gannon didn't say nothing to the players. Not to mention, he didn't have a press conference after. What do you think about Sirianni and how this next year's upcoming year is going to go with him and his coaching staff?
I like Sirianni. I was about to say the worst thing in my life. I was going to say I like Gannon. I'm glad he's gone. But no, I like Sirianni. I do. I like his emotion. I like how he connects with the team. I will say that I feel like he's been, and maybe it's more the front office than it is him, but I feel like he's been kind of cutthroat this offseason. There hasn't really been any, hey, we're gonna kumbaya and I'm gonna fight for my guy. Like he kind of understands the business side of it. I would almost say the opposite. I think he needs to calm down a little bit on the field. Like I do love the I love the emotion as far as getting a little. I like kind of the jerkness that he has in him, if that makes sense. Like I like the Philly that he has in him, that he's not afraid to kind of talk junk to somebody, but at the same time, I feel like there's a time and a place there for that. And I am kind of tired of other people talking about my coach. So it's like, maybe just calm down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Have fun with it, but maybe at the end of the game, right? Maybe not in the middle of the game. Maybe at the end of the game, talk your talk and have fun with it. But in the middle of the game, just kind of calm down. And I wouldn't be mad at him kind of going in on people, but if he would have went and yelled at Jonathan Gannon, I don't think that would have really done anything but give people more fire. So I wouldn't really necessarily say that's a flaw in him. But I understand what you're saying. I do think that his emotions are something to definitely watch. I don't think, either up or down is definitely something to kind of keep an eye on and make sure he doesn't either get too out of line or doesn't completely,
Or what did he say? Get too high and get too low.
Exactly. He's got to kind of stay in that middle space, in that happy space, in the sunken place. Now, don't go there. Don't go in the sunken place. But it's gonna be interesting.
I have an idea about that Jalen Carter question. How about when, like, if Carter does fall, what if a team gets super desperate and we try to fleece the crap out of them?
I would love that.
Oh yeah. Because see, I was actually thinking to myself, y'all, what would y'all feel as though if we took that 10th pick and traded back to like 18 to pick up an extra first rounder next year?
I would like. I mean,
Yeah,
I just don't know who's going to move up.
It depends on who we resign.
And I really don't know who's going to move up. My thing is, like, I talk to a lot of people that cover other teams because I feel like that's when you get like an unbiased opinion of what's going to happen with your team, to be honest. But like, I've talked to a lot of people that are, like from anywhere from like 13 to like 16, 17, 18. And it's like, who are they going to move up for? Maybe a quarterback, maybe an offensive lineman. I don't know if people are going to run up to 10 for Jalen Carter, especially if all those people, 9 picks before us had concerns. They probably have the same concerns. Maybe they're just hoping that he drops.
That 10th pick's supposed to be 8 or 7, thanks to Minshew.
Yeah, he's. Yeah, that
I
was.
see.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
I think about it every day.
I'm trying to forget. I'm trying to
I
forget.
think about it every day. That
I'm
was.
glad
I'm
I think
trying.
Minshew on here.
Richardson
Like seriously,
falls.
I'm
I
glad
think
Minshew on here.
I know it's always sitting right back here, but and I'm trying to just like force it out the back of my head somewhere else because like I'm so mad at that. We were supposed to like, could y'all think about that? We can top 8 instead of just 10. Now it don't matter because I'm guaranteeing you those 4 quarterbacks, Young, Stroud, Richardson, and Levis, they going in. All 4 of them going in the top 10.
Yeah, I
I
think
I'd
Levis
say
might fall. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest.
I
I
was
think
gonna say
Levis might
if
fall.
Richardson fell or Levis fell to 10, I could see the Bucks try to
Trading up,
trade
yeah.
him
I
because
don't think
I don't know if
Anthony
Yeah,
they're really
Richardson's
sold on
getting out the
Trask.
top 5. Anthony
It's
Richardson,
not.
hell, and let's not sleep on the Commanders trying to trade up and get a damn quarterback because we know they ain't got one.
yeah, they said
I
they're
think they're
not
gonna
in on
stick with Sam
Lamar.
Howell this year.
They said they're not in on Lamar,
Yeah.
so that I
Man,
mean,
they gonna get low.
no, they
You said
said
they
they're
ain't
not
in on
in.
Lamar still?
Yeah, they're not in on it.
No,
They do not want to pay those 2 first-round picks, so they out. Same thing with Falcons. Falcons said that they're out.
They don't need Lamar anyway, man. You see what they did to RG3.
Yeah, seriously, that's the last thing they need. It's gonna be
Commanders.
But
crazy
see,
to see.
but the difference is they got weapons there in Washington now. RG3 ain't really had weapons like they got now.
They had didn't they have Pierre Gasson? He was pretty good. He was like in his
Here
prime
at
at that.
Gasol, they had what's his
You
name?
all right,
89.
You
compare
gotta
them
think
to what he
hard,
got.
so you
Compare
know
them
it
to
ain't
what's
too
there
good.
now.
What was
Huh?
89 name? He was hard too.
You know what'd be pretty
Moss.
funny?
Oh
Moss,
yeah,
yeah, he was
Santana
cool.
Moss. Didn't they had
You know
Santana
what'd be pretty
Moss?
funny?
All right, now compare
The
them to what they got in Washington now.
Oh no, definitely, it's way better. Don't get don't get me
That's
wrong.
what I'm saying.
You definitely proven there. Don't get me
That's
wrong,
what I'm
but
saying.
I mean,
I don't want to see that twice a year.
I
I
didn't
don't want
really
to see
see
that.
Hey,
that
yo, so
deal.
listen. Daniel
Yeah,
Jones
right.
got $40 million a year, so that means Jalen Hurts is a lock at 50, right?
he probably gonna get
45,
he
probably.
probably
50.
gonna get like around 48 to 50. It's all
Yeah.
about what that cap hit is. That's really all that matters, and that's to me that's what's taking so long is to see what that
And
cap
I
if you
hit
just
is
could
I
gonna
do it
just
be.
like
pray
if you
it's an
could do
8
it
to
like they
10 year
do
deal.
Patrick Mahomes and pay him his salary a year early in advance, you and make most of it like a signing bonus. You really not hitting your cap like that.
If we could keep it under 45 or under 46, I would be elated. I think
But
that would be
but
beautiful.
even if it's not, if you can structure it to where the majority of it is a signing bonus, and he only
No, I'm
hitting your
talking
cap
about
for
the
like
cap hit.
16 something million a
His
year.
cap hit is going to be like 40 something mil at least. His cap hit
But
is
if
going
you
to be
can structure,
huge.
but like I'm
Hey,
saying, if
hold
they
on
can
though. If you
structure
look
it
at
in a
if you
way,
look at Patrick Mahomes, he only a $38 million cap hit.
Yeah, and
He
that
got
was that
he
exactly.
was
got
what
he
5
got
4 or
paid the
5 years ago.
no, I'm saying no. He got paid 50 a year, but the way they set it up, he only hit him for like 38.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
facts. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying his cap hit. As long as his cap hit is low, I don't care what his yearly amount is. I don't care. You can
yeah,
give him
that's
a
what I'm saying.
billion
If they
a
set it up,
year.
if they set it up to where the cap hit is only like 30 a year,
Yeah, sure. If they could
and,
do that. Sure, if they could do that, I'll pay it. We could pay him under the table if all I care for. You know what I'm
give him
saying?
the rest as like a roster bonus a year in advance, then like, hey, we still sitting good. We can make moves with other people.
Facts. If I was the Eagles, I would set up some weird charity, some like or some fake company that just sponsors,
Yeah.
players and be like, this company's gonna sponsor you for $20 million a year. So take that off the cap hit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we
Yeah.
just we just how we get him for $10 million a year? That's because he's getting 20 from our fake
Hey,
company.
I think all of us as Eagles, I think the Eagles fandom from all over the world should chip in and create that
Oh
organization, but
God,
we
oh
do it
God.
ourselves.
It's called the Lonely Bird. It's called the Only
Hey, I'm
Bird.
excited for Jalen Hurts this year, though. I really am.
Oh
Yeah.
hell yeah, bro.
I
I
think this is
really
a
am.
big year for him.
That's he's like as an Eagle fan, that's my man crush. Like not like that, but I've never
I
seen a
feel you.
young man have the type of work ethic, the type of head on his shoulders. I don't think there'll ever be another Jalen Hurts in a package like that, man. People thought he
I
was scary this year.
99%
I said
agree.
this with
People
Philly
thought he
Mike
was
last
scary this
night,
year.
yo. That
Wait till next year.
if I had half his maturity when I was his age.
Jalen, it's
I
crazy.
I
said
There's
mean,
it
a
in
last
his
lot
night
of
with
first
Philly Mike.
game,
If I had half the maturity he got when I was his age, dude, I
Yeah, a
know
lot
I'll be
of
better
people have
off.
said
First
that.
If I
game,
had,
bro.
if
Man,
I
my
had half
money
the
would be
focus of
straight. My
the
pockets would be crazy if I had that. Go
Well,
ahead.
I'm
his wife is
telling you,
like a genius. His wife, I gotta
bro,
ask my girl.
I'd be sitting
I forget what it
pretty.
was. She's like I forget what she is. She's a smart though. What is she? She's like a engineer or something like that. Like he's got a good
I
circle.
think
He's
it's
got a
some
good head
chemical
on his shoulders.
engineering.
Yeah, she does some crazy
I
stuff.
remember. I
Yeah,
remember his first game. Packers. He gave us like a spark. Like like
hmm
we all was like, oh,
yeah.
win this, win that. He
My
came
thing
in,
is,
did his
why does
thing,
Jalen Hurts?
Through that
and
touchdown pass to
even
Greg
even with
Ward.
even with the Cardinals, even though we didn't win,
That was a good
but you feel
game.
me?
Yeah,
That was a good
cause
comeback.
JJ Arcega Whiteside and Rager both dropped back-to-back touchdown passes
Remember he dropped the snap, picked it up, and then
Yeah.
completed the pass.
and got the pass
And
off to Gann Goddard.
Do y'all remember the JJR? So
yeah,
you know we're still paying what's his name? What's homeboy name from TCU that we on for Jalen Rager? We're still
Right.
paying him $2 million. You see how almost I got him out my mind, but it came back. But Jalen Rager, we're paying him $2 million this year. Like
Speaking of Raider, we need to praise Quez Walker
Bro,
for
hey,
thoroughly.
see, Castro, this is what you just did to me. I got to do this now.
Derrick Henry for Quez Watkins in the third rounder.
Quez is probably not, I really don't want to see Quez gone, man. That's the
Eric
last person
Kendricks
I
is
want
a
to see
free
gone.
agent.
Yeah, and I don't want
yeah.
Aaron
I
Kendricks. I
want
ain't
to
gonna
see.
lie.
We had the other brother. Shit, why not?
Kendrick a free agent. We ain't got to trade nothing for him. He a free agent. He released.
Yeah, free agent. I don't really want him on the squad. I'm good.
You don't want
I'm
him?
good. We could figure something out. He's old. For that, sign TJ Edwards. Like, you feel me? For that, just keep TJ. It'll probably be
Yeah,
like 2
what do
or
we
3
do at
mil
Like,
more.
for real,
linebacker?
for all
What do we
that
do at
matter.
linebacker?
What
Hey,
you
Always
say?
it's
undervalue
some pretty, it's
linebackers,
some
but
pretty
we do
good
need
free agents out
linebackers.
there,
Hey,
Always
man.
hey,
undervalue.
hold on. Yo, the boy Tremaine Edmonds from Buffalo just got released too.
I want to,
He
and
gonna
He
he
gonna be
wants some
expensive.
money
that
He's
though.
gonna
wouldn't
be
He
count against
expensive.
our
expensive.
cap. I mean, not against our cap, but against our formula for next year. But he is going to be expensive.
He
Hey,
So
y'all, this is
expensive,
a
bro.
serious question. Why doesn't Howie value linebackers?
I don't
great
know. That's
question.
a good
That's a
I
question.
think
that's a
just the
beautiful
general
question.
public, the linebacker position, like the value of talent has been gone down. Like if you don't name Fred Warner and
Yeah.
Shaquille Leonard, who are the
Roquan
best
Smith.
linebackers in the NFL? Yeah,
Roquan.
Roquan Smith.
Roquan.
Like, if you really think about it,
It's
There's
at
true.
there's
least
not a lot of talent.
From an Eagles perspective, we haven't really had those dominant linebackers like that since Jeremiah Trotter and the boys.
It's
Like,
What
facts.
think
Yeah, we
about
about
definitely haven't. We definitely
what
haven't.
about our Super Bowl year?
They
Like,
weren't even
think
that great of
about this.
linebackers.
Think
They
about
they
this.
were good in their
That's why
roles.
I say I want Seth Joyner to be our linebacker coach, because he know how to play Philadelphia Eagle football as a linebacker. How to
Facts.
train these boys' eyes and everything. These guys, they keep bringing in people. Like, I've noticed they bring in a lot of coaches. A lot of these dudes ain't never played the game. They don't have the instinct of understanding what to do in the game. So not to
That's
have that.
because I'll tell you why. That's because the Eagles are they. I feel like they more in the analytics now. They don't want the old school guys that have actually played. You know, they don't want to. Seth is not a yes man. He's gonna want to do things his way, and it's not
Yeah.
the ego way. You know, just how it
I
is.
want to ask y'all a question. Why is everybody so on Seth being a linebacker coach? Like
Because he's.
because we like him as fans? Like, because that's what it
I
feels
don't.
like.
I'm with
I
you.
agree with
No,
That's
bro.
what
I
it
agree
feels
with
like.
Stu
I don't
Vision
even
I'm
care.
gonna
because
keep
Seth
it
being a
100.
linebacker coach.
I'm gonna keep it 100. As a kid, I grew up watching in the old Veteran Stadium, watching Seth Joyner
I
play
respect that.
linebacker for this team. You can't watch a lot of tape with Seth Joyner where you seen a misstep or he was out of position. He took that to heart because he was a late round pick. He wasn't even supposed to make. He didn't even think he was going to make the team. So, you know what I'm saying? If somebody with that kind of drive and work ethic that understand what it takes to play in this city, if you ain't got that on your sideline pushing your players, come on, man. How do you
I
expect to see
respect that.
Philadelphia football?
I agree with Stu
That
Vision,
was
man.
probably the best explanation that I've ever gotten about that,
Tell
and
them
I've asked a
everything.
lot of people about that. So I respect that. Thank you. I can take that. I can respectfully take that because I haven't been able to. I wasn't obviously able to watch them. I wasn't really watching football at the time if I was alive. But at the
Big
end of the day,
Seth in
that
there to
makes a
coach
lot of
up
sense.
N'Kobe Dean.
How do we feel about
I
going the
remember him
cheaper out in
saying a few
linebacker?
years ago. He said a few years ago on his own podcast. He said, "Give me 6 months with Davion Taylor, and he will be the future linebacker. He will be a future linebacker. He will set the standard for what a linebacker is for the Philadelphia." He said, "Give me 6 months with this boy." Come
That's
on
too
now.
I
long.
wonder what we even want our linebacker to be. Like, what was TJ Edwards? What was his responsibilities? Like, you know what I'm saying?
He
Like,
was
what
he
was
was the
he really
enforcer
supposed to
tackler.
be? Say that
He
again.
was the tackler.
But I mean, but like, yeah, but is that really like respect? You know, like my thing is like, what? I don't know. Like, what was he was very good at tackling? Don't get me wrong, but outside of that, like, what did he bring to this roster that was like, that's why he's here? Like,
Yeah.
Like he
Nothing.
he,
Nothing.
he
I don't see
was he
nothing.
was
Nothing in
physical
my opinion.
downhill and run defense.
he
He was
is very
physical at the
physical.
line.
One.
I'll
He
say he
couldn't
knew the
cover
He was.
offense.
tight
He knew the
ends though.
defense. He knew the defense.
Couldn't
I
cover
mean,
tight
yeah, he
ends.
knew the defense. I don't know.
For
I'm not one of
everything.
those guys that like sits
He
here and like
can't
breaks
cover tight
down,
end.
you know,
How
what
do
a
we feel going the
linebacking
cheap
position
route?
is supposed to do. But I just don't feel like we have any linebackers that are like, oh, they're really good at this. Like, you know, like I mean, yeah, TJ Edwards is a good tackler. He's good in run defense, but is he amazing at it? Is he, you know what I'm saying? Is he $13 million a year
Does everyone
good
want
at it?
Kaiser gone?
I
It
won't say I want him
depends.
gone. I wouldn't be mad if he. I
I
mean,
would
you
be
know,
cool
It
with
depends.
Kaiser being here. I wouldn't hate on him
yeah, I
being
I
here.
don't
wouldn't
want him
care
Because
either
gone
he,
either.
way.
he he would be cheap, and then we just pair him with N'Kobe Dean. N'Kobe Dean goes to the
Yeah,
weak side where White was, and White goes to the Mike.
Yeah, where
I think
TJ
White
was.
would be
Yeah,
better
yeah.
as the Mike instead of the weak linebacker.
Wasn't
yeah,
a
with that
Kobe Mike
sideline to
in
sideline
college?
speed from both of them. Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
work.
But wasn't a
Hey,
Kobe
what
Mike
y'all?
in college? Am I going crazy?
Hey, what y'all think about Reed Blankenship, man? That hit he put on Debo in the Super Bowl, boy, everybody forgot about that.
No, the
Yeah.
NFC Championship game. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You right.
His
Sam, yeah,
fumble. Yeah. That
yeah.
was a
That hit
hard
on
hit.
Debo was lethal.
I
Reed
like
gonna
him.
step up.
He could just fill in for Marcus Epps and probably be a little bit better, but I don't see him being like anything more than like he doesn't have potential to be better than Chauncey.
Yeah, not
No,
yet. At
I,
least not
I
yet.
think you should pair. I think you should pair him up with Chauncey.
Yeah, I think they're different
Yeah, that's why.
players.
Like Reed Blankenship should be in the Marcus Epps role.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
and I
Definitely,
think he will be better at it.
He just got to practice, his angles, and obviously
He
he
just got to get more
But that
undrafted.
PT.
come
So
with
He got to get
Reed,
playing
more
time
PT.
though. That come
He
with
got to get
more
more
playing
Yeah,
playing
time.
PT.
that
He
time.
just
that
Yeah.
comes with time, yo.
Yeah, Reed just
So
needs
he
his
ain't
hope,
on the
time in the
field,
game.
so he make mistakes like the dumbass mistakes that you don't want to see him make, but he gonna make them because
like
he
in
ain't
the
on the
Packers
field.
game, you know how that angle he took, like
Yeah, he fucked up. He could have had
Yeah,
an
that
Yeah,
was a really
again,
bad
interception.
angle.
yeah, against the rookie, yeah. But see, the
Facts.
thing about it is, I look at it like this with him though. My thing with him though is he's one of those players. I very rarely did I see him when he was in the game just try to go for the big hit. Most times he was trying to hit you and he was trying to wrap up and tackle too. It was too many guys I seen always just trying to go for that big hit with just the shoulder instead of trying to wrap up and tackle and get the ball carried to the ground. That's
Yeah,
how a lot of guys was missing tackles and guys was breaking off and getting big runs on us and stuff. Guys going for
that's
the
why
big
McCaffrey.
Christian
hit, trying
McCaffrey
to wrap
got
up.
that big run
McCaffrey
because
scored
Chauncey
off
didn't go
that.
Yeah.
for the
Chauncey tried to
Yeah,
go for the big hit.
they
yeah.
didn't wrap up.
He just slid off of him. There's sometimes that I look at that Super Bowl, and honestly, some plays I just laugh, and I'm like, you know what, this just hurts. Like, but anyways, yeah, I know that was the
Y'all
NFC
remember that?
Championship game.
Y'all
I'm
remember
just
that
having bad
second
memories.
second game against the Giants where Reed Blankenship tried to boom Davis Webb and he got trucked into the end zone?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
I was
Unfortunate.
like,
Hey,
I didn't see that.
hey, that one happened, and I'm still looking at the one where in the play in the third Giants game in the divisional round,
Oh,
C.J. Gardner
Kelsey?
Johnson, Saquon
Uh,
Saquon Barkley put C.J. on his hind part, so he ran him over on the
hey,
side.
hey, but then
So
we
let
can
me.
say exactly about Kelsey. Kelsey put a whole grown man on his ass with
He
one arm.
folded
With one
him in
arm. Oh yeah,
half.
he just hung.
He just
Hung.
folded him.
Let me ask
How
y'all a
we feel
question.
about
Let
Hey,
me
Cam
ask y'all
Jurgens?
a
I'm
question.
really
hey,
high
did
on
y'all
Cam
see
Jurgens.
hold on? Did y'all
Kel-
see the block where he sat Bosa down in that
Oh,
championship
Oh
case?
yes.
Kelsey got slammed too.
let me ask y'all a
What you
question
say,
though.
Joe?
Let me ask y'all a question. Real quick before I do ask y'all the question, shout out to everybody that's on the YouTube side. We got 40 people on the YouTube side. Shout out to y'all. Be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe. If you want to join these conversations, I have one more seat available. But if you want to join these in now or in the future, the link is pinned at the top of the chat. So definitely join. Shout out to JJAANN. They were a huge help in getting me out to Indianapolis to give you guys that combine coverage. So shout out to them. But the question I want to ask you guys, who's the player outside of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, because I think that he stole all of our hearts, but who was the player that this year, whether it's a rookie, whether it was a guy that got traded, whether it was a vet that just kind of caught you, who was the guy that got you just fell in love with them again, like either again or just fell in love with them, period? Because for me,
Jalen Hurts.
It,
go
I ain't
ahead.
gonna lie, bro. It was C.J. Gardner-Johnson, bro.
I said outside of CJG because that's an easy
Okay,
one.
outside of C.J., it probably was A.J. then, because A.J. really like showed me he was what he was. Like I seen him in Tennessee a lot, and I was like, he kind of decent. But when he really had to be the
Yeah.
guy,
It's different when
he
you
was
put them
that.
wings on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
because
what was the
Smitty,
question? What was the
they had
question?
run for the team. They had the best running back, you feel me? So you didn't really get to see him that much.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got a question, man. This gonna be this is the biggest. This is the biggest part of our defense, Jordan Davis. What we think about him, man? I kind of think he needs to slimmer down a little bit, get a little more
He's going
athletic,
to
get
be
a little more
exactly like Vita
stronger.
Vea. He's going to be exactly like Vita Vea.
I wouldn't be mad at
He
that.
wanna say he gonna be a buster, so that's what he sound like.
No, Vita Vea ain't no bust. I would take a Vita Vea. Maybe
No,
not
not
at
him,
what
not
16,
him,
but,
not him.
but it is what it is. Vita
He the
Vea could.
biggest part of our defense, man. If he don't step up this
It
year, I
is.
don't know.
That's 100.
Like
Yeah.
he's
But
just another guy
listen,
off
Best
the. I
listen,
mean,
statement.
if
he's
you
just a
really pay
rookie.
attention, bro,
It
before the
takes a
injury,
while for D tackles,
D
especially nose
tackles, so
tackles,
yeah.
to really, because like I think we all think highly of Dexter Lawrence, right, for the Giants.
Yeah, he's
He
good.
ain't do
Yeah.
nothing.
It took him a while.
Yeah,
Like he broke out finally this year, I think.
Yeah.
I
You
think
can
it
say
also
that.
has to do with who he was playing for a lot of
It
those
didn't
years.
seem. It didn't seem like he was breaking out against us because Jason Kelsey had him on.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like,
But he did. No, like I'm saying, he did have a damn good year. He did break out this year. It do take tackles a little bit. It takes him a few seasons actually for tackles to really jump out there. It's just you have a few of those tackles that get drafted, like i.e. Aaron Donald and Dominican Sue early in his career, and guys like that just come out the gate and they wreck shop. You know
well,
what I'm
yeah, because
saying?
they're like generational talents. So
Yeah,
Like
you got
Fletch.
something, and then you got and then you got sometimes you got even deep. Look how long it took for Brandon Graham to finally, you know what I'm saying, start showing things. It takes a while for a lot of defensive guys the defensive line guys to really bust through, man, because you really, first of all, it's just like offense and defensive line guys. When you first get in the league, you might think that you're ready to play, but you got to really build your NFL body. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You had a college body where you was doing all this and all that, but you got to get your NFL body. And then you got to get that conditioning and work on all your technique all at the same time. So it takes a little while when it comes to O line and D line. Just our O line, we just happen to have one of those damn coaches on the offensive line that, you know what I'm saying, he makes sure, hey, look, you ain't got all this time. We need you ready now. Let's go.
Fact. There was two trends. There was two trends at the combine. The first one was that they kept on bringing offensive lineman trends. One was that they kept on bringing Trent Williams up. Every person, like if you asked them, who did you study? Who did you like? They all said Trent Williams. And there was a list of other guys, but it was always Trent Williams at the start. And then two, whenever you brought up the Eagles or if you just brought up coaching, offensive line coaching, Jeff Stoutland was the first name that got brought up. There was a number of players who brought up Jeff Stoutland without being asked. So it shows, and I said this on Twitter, and I truly believe this. If there was no NFL draft anymore, if Burt Bell never started it back in the day for the Eagles, if there was no NFL draft and offensive linemen can choose where they go, we would, I think, undoubtedly be a top 5 spot. We would be a top 5 destination just because of our coaching staff. So
I'll take it a step. I'll take it a step further. We a top 3 spot.
yeah, easily. I agree. I agree.
Hey, man, listen. I was watching First Take, and I've been and listen. this is the point I want to get to. Why is Jalen Hurts? He doesn't get his respect, and he's always getting disrespected. Why is that, man? Why? What? I don't even think a Super Bowl win is gonna please this dude.
Because he doesn't
Hey,
make those
listen, it's
flashy plays.
nah,
Yeah, and he's not.
it's him getting benched, bro. I swear, I think it's him getting
They
benched,
still,
bro.
yeah, they
I think they
still
gonna
bring
let him
that
live
up
that
every
shit
day.
down.
They
They gonna let him
stay
live that
bring
shit
that up
down.
every day. But I think it's because he's not what they're used to. He's not what they want him to be. He's not a Peyton Manning, a
No,
Tom Brady.
actually, the past couple weeks, man, they actually been using Jalen Hurts as an example as to why the damn Chicago Bears
For
should
Justin
not trade
Fields.
Justin
True,
Fields.
very true, very true,
They
very
have been
true.
saying no. If anybody should not, if they want a reason to not trade Justin Fields, look at what the Philadelphia Eagles just did with Jalen Hurts.
Facts.
Jalen Hurts went in, he got in the lab, he worked on his craft, they put weapons around him, and look at what Jalen did.
It was
Stop
Josh
acting
Allen
like
first. Now it's going to be Jalen Hurts. He's going to be the new
I just
model.
heard, yeah, I
I
heard
hope
I'm
Stephen
so.
telling
A.
you,
say if Lamar goes to NFC, that he won't really have any competition. He failed to mention Jalen Hurts. He mentioned who? He mentioned Jared Goff. He mentioned I don't know who he
Dak
mentioned, but
Prescott,
he
Dak
didn't mention
Prescott.
Jalen Hurts when it came to competitive quarterbacks that Lamar would have to
oh
compete
yeah,
Who
against
who
in the
said
was that
that?
that
NFC.
said that?
Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. always
Oh,
hating. That man always hating on
You know,
somebody.
Stephen, that's because Stephen A. He half the time he just be talking too fast, and he don't even he doesn't hear himself talk.
I mean, I think that the Eagles are in a good position. I think that I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, and some of you guys I know have probably watched me since probably like last year. I thought that Justin Fields was gonna be way better than Jalen Hurts. If I'm being honest, I think that he has way better physical tools. He's a better, in my opinion, runner. I think that he's a better thrower of the football. So I do think that they should give him some time and give him some actual weapons. Now,
I
I'm
think
happy
I think
with my quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but I still do think that if you look at that college tape, I mean, he has
oh,
he
he
has
had
it. He
he had better
has it.
tape.
I say Fields is a better runner. He has a bigger arm, but Jalen has the better mind, the better
And way better
smartness.
accuracy. I'll give accuracy
Yeah,
to Jalen, especially in these first couple years. Maybe if we
But
talking
there's
about
also a
just
way
tape,
to Jalen's
But
game that
maybe
you
there's
just
a
can't
difference.
understand. He just makes
Yeah, I'll
winning
give him
plays.
accuracy in the first couple years, but I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm not, and this is no shade at Jalen. If Justin Fields gets somewhat of an old line in front of him and gets the number one receiver,
He gonna turn up.
it's gonna be a
I
problem.
think
He
he
gonna
got a
turn
number one
up.
receiver though. For
No,
me, I think
no,
Chase
no.
Claypool can
Darnell
be.
Mooney's not a number one.
I think Chase Claypool could be
Chase
turned into a
can
number
be a
one.
Chase
number one. Chase can be a number one. You just
He's
got to
got
get
the tools,
somebody on
but
the
he,
other
he don't
side.
got it in his mind.
Well,
He
Mooney
all
was
about that
their
TikTok.
number one receiver for a while.
Yeah,
I
Mooney
can't
out.
see
Yeah, if you
Chase
can,
number
if
one because of his
like
size as far as height.
I
Well,
think
yeah,
if you got
Lamar got
Claypool,
all
now
that,
say
man.
if they can get somebody on the other side of Claypool and they get that offensive line built up, you might have a problem with Chicago. Chicago could compete for the NFC North.
Claypool is a bonehead, man. He's a number two. Trust me.
Who's their coach now? Did they get rid of ballhead boy?
No, it's
What
still
was his name?
Eberflus. It's still Eberflus.
I
Yeah, no, they good.
Yeah, it's
They not
Eberflus.
gonna be good, bro. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
a
they got rid of Nagy. It's
organizational thing.
Eberflus now.
Hey, what
It's an
y'all? I thought
organizational
about this
thing.
earlier, man. About Anthony Richardson and who's that? Shane Steichen and the coach. You think
Hmm.
he try to do a Jalen Hurts remake over with
That's a
Anthony
good.
Richardson?
I could
That's a
definitely
good
see it.
question. That's a good question.
I can
I'll
see
take
that happen. I can see that, but I also wouldn't put it past.
I
From
think
what
he gonna
I'm
get. I
hearing,
think he'll
the
try to get
Raiders
Bryce.
is looking to move up to try to grab him.
I'll take the real Mooney for Quez any day.
There's gonna be one. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. I love
I
Quez.
think Shane
And Obi
Steichen
ain't
gonna
watching
try
it.
to
I
copy
would
and
not
do the
mind that.
Jalen Hurts Anthony Richardson experiment.
I'll say
He
this:
got the
if
way.
Anthony Richardson goes to a team that's willing to do what Shane Steichen can do with him, if you do, want to compare it to Jalen Hurts, I think Anthony Richardson will succeed sooner rather than later. Maybe not first year. I think you'll see flashes, but I think he'll succeed way quicker if someone's willing to let him be him in the NFL, which I don't think people are, to be honest. I think they're going to see
Hey, Castro.
the
Hey,
arm and just
Anthony
want him to
Richardson remind me
throw
of
it.
Cam.
He reminds me of
Yeah,
Malik
he do.
Willis.
I mean,
Honestly, he reminds me a lot of
the
Malik Willis.
combine is cool, it's
You say he
pretty and
remind you
all
of who,
that.
Castro?
Malik Willis. Like last year, just a huge
But he
arm,
gotta
athletic.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The combine is cool, it's pretty, this and that, whatever. We gotta see it. You feel me? Look at
You
Exactly.
use the
Malik Willis.
combine
He
to
did
help watch tape
everything.
to
He did
confirm what you
everything
see on tape.
Anthony Richardson did, and look where he at. They won't give him a chance. Pretty
Well,
ball,
you
deep
also
ball.
playing Tannehill though. You also paying Tannehill a lot of damn money to sit him on the bench for Malik Willis.
Tannehill getting cut.
I don't think not this year. The cap hit too
Oh yeah,
high.
he getting cut. I'll be
Cap hit
surprised.
too high
Who?
for Tannehill.
Oh yeah, nah, they're cutting everybody but Tannehill. That's the weirdest situation in the world, bro. Like,
what?
yeah, I'm sorry if it. Maybe I'm stupid here, but if I had to pick between Tannehill and Derrick Henry, I'm gonna probably pick Derrick Henry. Like real talk,
Every
I'm a
time.
like. Come on, I mean this is
Go pick
it's
up
kind of
Bud
ridiculous what they're
Dupree.
doing. Bud
Put him
Dupree,
in
I get.
rotation.
Bud Dupree is
Yeah,
old. He's not old. What is he like? 30, 31?
rotational.
Yeah, I
I
would
think he's
love Bud
28,
Dupree on this
29.
team. Don't get me. He's 20. Is he really only 29? Don't say that. Is
I
he
think he's maybe
really?
28, 27, 28.
Man,
I
Derrick
think.
Henry
Nah, I gotta
behind
look
this
that up. He better
Eagles
be around my
offensive
age. I'm gonna be
line. Oh
mad.
my goodness.
I don't think he's in
Hey,
his 30s,
I'm
right?
with that, bro. Derrick Henry, I'm
Derrick
still
Henry
with that.
behind this Eagles O line with Jalen
It's
Hurts.
gonna
Oh my
cost too
Like I
much,
think
goodness.
man. It's gonna cost too
I think
much.
Yeah,
Tannehill is capping
everybody
out
know
at
that.
Nah,
about 130.
hey, look, Derrick Henry only making 10.1 this year now.
That's a lot, bro. We
I
ain't
like.
got
I
the
don't.
no. All right,
That's a
so
lot.
Bud Dupree is
You
30.
might as well pay
Okay, so
Miles.
don't make me
30,
feel
okay.
too old. You know
Don't
what
even
I'm saying?
bring
Man,
Miles Sanders
Miles
up.
and
Don't bring
Derrick
Miles up.
Miles for 10?
Miles
Miles
for
If you
10.
gonna
Sanders.
pay
I
That
would not pay
Instagram
if
Miles
you
post
10.
that
gonna
he
pay if
sent,
you gonna pay 10-1 for a
that put
running back,
tears
you
in
might
my
as well sell
eyes.
Miles for 8-2.
Nah, we don't want Miles.
It ain't Derrick
I
though.
don't,
Right, he
I'm
ain't
sorry.
Derrick.
I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all remember this, but y'all remember the last time we got a used up a running back that
Oh
was
man, you
used
really
so
gonna
many
bring
damn
up the
times?
you gonna bring up
Don't remind
Murray,
me of
bro?
DeMarco Murray. Don't
Exactly
go
my
there.
point.
Come on, bro. He also
Did y'all
came and
forget
played under
that?
Chip Kelly, who didn't need no
That's
fucking
Did you
power
hold
running.
on? Did y'all forget the results of that? And
we in the
Derrick
new
Henry was
Yeah,
used
but he was in
more
the
every.
wrong system.
Derrick
we
Henry is
Hold on.
literally
I
been
want to ask
used
y'all
more
this.
every year than DeMarco Murray was.
Hold on. I want to ask y'all this.
To
I
be
know this.
fair, I
I
think
know
Chip
this is
Kelly
kind of
used
coming off
DeMarco
of
Murray
we in a new
wrong.
topic.
era.
I want to ask y'all this because I know this is going off topic, but shout out to everybody in the chat on the YouTube side because they're coming, they having their whole own conversation, which I love. So I just went over there and somebody said Barnett comes back this year, which he does. Do you have any emotion connected to Barnett coming back? Because
I
obviously he
do.
got hurt early. Do you think he's going to be good this year? I think it'll be
He's gonna be a
interesting.
depth piece. I don't think he's gonna like break out, get like a 7
He not gonna
sacks, but I
break.
think
Yeah.
he's just gonna be he's gonna be what Robert Quinn did for us.
Yeah.
Oh no, hell no, he not gonna do that bad.
Robert Quinn
man. Robert
wasn't
Quinn was bad.
terrible. Robert
Yeah, that
Quinn
was
made
bad,
some.
bro.
Robert Quinn couldn't do anything because he got hurt because he never had a bye week, and then like he was getting pressure like from what
Derek
I saw,
Barnett,
like
I
he was
give
getting
him
pressure, he
like
just
three
couldn't get
sacks.
there.
Yeah, he couldn't
Three
get there,
sacks.
and he made some smart plays. Like the numbers don't show the times that he stopped on a running on a screen, running back screen. The numbers don't show the times he made the quarterback run towards another defender. You know, there was plays that he
What
made. I won't say that
what
he was
people
terrible.
don't like, what people don't like about Derek Barnett is because the personal fouls. If he can just
It's
cut
his
Yeah, he
that
get a
out,
penalty.
lot.
people will be
He
less
gets more
hypocritical of
penalties
him.
than he does play. He gets more penalties in a season than he does sacks.
He
I
got
can't
about
do
the
it.
same. I ain't gonna cap. He does have about the same. It's sad, but I mean,
Hey,
yeah. I mean,
I got a real question, man. At this point in Darius Slick's career, is he overrated? Now we didn't play any good
No,
quarterbacks here, but is he overrated at this point right now at
No,
his age?
no,
no.
no.
That's a lot of no's. I won't say he's overrated. I will say that he's starting to hit that decline. And I think that's fair to
Yeah, he
say.
getting there. You can see
I
it
don't think that
sometimes.
he's overrated. I think that because I mean, if you ask most people, they have him maybe like 8 to 12, 13,
He's top
14.
10.
I
He's
think
top
he's
10.
I think he's top 10, but I think depending
That was
no matter who you ask, let's put it that way. No matter who you ask, at the worst, I think they'll say 13, 14. You know what I'm saying? I think to us we realize that he's top 10, but name 9 or 10 players better than him and it's going to be tough. So I do think he's
I'm
good,
gonna be
but
real.
he's getting there.
I don't think lately he's been playing in a system that benefits him. But before he came to us,
I agree.
he was more comfortable. He was more comfortable being a press corner where he was up getting his hands on receivers, playing bumper run coverage,
Remember
and we
his
haven't
first
played
year
off
here?
too
But
much.
hold
He was
on, Stu. At the
awesome,
beginning
bro.
of the season, though, that man was an interception. That man was an interception waiting to happen, and then
But-
all of a
And
sudden
he was
it
playing
changed.
more. He was playing more up on receivers because the quarterbacks we were playing against were buns.
No, we played more press down the stretch than we did at the beginning of the season. Look at the
Look,
stats.
and that's because of the quarterbacks we were playing against were
At
buns.
the beginning of the season, we played only like 22% man coverage. Down the stretch, we
And
played
look at the
36%.
quarterbacks. Look at our pass rush and the quarterbacks we were playing against.
Slay's
Buns.
best
Y'all both right. Y'all both right.
Slay's best game was against his best competition. That was Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the
Yeah.
Vikings.
Week 2.
Slay has always had a problem with bigger receivers and like uber
DK
fast
Metcalf that
receivers.
one year when he was 24.
Exactly. There's no, there's no
He was just
hiding that.
manhandling him.
Yeah, there's really no hiding that. That's why him and
But
his
he
old
was a
coach
little
don't like
better
each
at
other.
it this year. But he was better at it this year because he got to practice against AJ all offseason.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's
Hey,
why
Castro,
him and
something that was interesting.
say again?
Joey Shakes. He said you got to give he's like you got to give Slay something to do. You can't just put him out on the island. He get bored.
Yeah.
I could be trying. I mean, you're a professional
Because
damn
when
player.
he
You
had
better
to
do
lock up
something.
Jefferson, he looked like an animal that game. Then you put him out there just playing zone, he looked real pedestrian.
Facts. I mean,
Like literally.
well, when you put somebody in zone, there's a lot of people that contribute to one person's highlight reel, if that makes sense. Because a blown coverage by Darius Slay can be explained by a safety not rotating quick enough, or a safety not finding their assignment quick enough, or a motion that turns it off. There's a lot of things that happen when you go in zone, and that's why Chauncey Gardner-Johnson said outright that you guys didn't put us in a good position to make plays because you're playing zone at the 2-yard line. It just doesn't make sense. Now, a lot of stuff made no sense.
Here's a prime example of, and this is why I blamed it on Jonathan Gannon, really, because here's a prime example of what I mean by it. Go look at our defensive coverage in the first game against Dallas, and then go look when we played against who was their backup? That guy.
Cooper
and then
Rush.
go look at the second game where we faced Dak, and look at how we were playing our coverage. That is a key example. Gannon was afraid of Dak Prescott. He wasn't afraid of the backup.
Facts.
I think there's also a reason that I'm pretty sure that was the game that Jordan Davis was still out. I think. Was he out?
I don't think so. I think he came back by then.
No, Jordan Davis played that game. That's the game we lost to Vontae Maddox early in the game.
Yeah, we're talking about the second one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Maddox was everywhere on the field before he got hurt.
Yeah,
man.
Davis just kind of disappeared way too much.
Yeah, we was gonna win, man.
Matter of fact, he got hurt on that second. He got hurt on that second down play on the second. They made it third. They made it 3rd and 20. That 30 and 31.
How do we give up 3rd and 30? Just tell me that.
Josiah Scott ran past. He overplayed it.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Stu be giving you the real answer. Like my man's asked like a rhetorical, like, man, I'm mad about it. And Stu was like, this is exactly how it happened. I love it. He said, I'll tell you exactly
literally. He said that's a pick. Like, because if you really watch that play in slow mo, if you watch that play in slow mo, Josiah Scott literally is watching the ball the entire time the ball is in the air.
Yeah,
and he literally had time to run over to try to tackle T.Y. Hilton when he could have just simply high pointed the ball.
What the fuck was that?
Like, what are you doing, bro?
It was terrible.
That's why CJ did hit Twitter real quick. Like, yo, that's a pick.
Come on, man. That's easy. That's a pick.
I'm watching the Sixers game. Tell me why we did a freaking double action with Embiid and Yang for like 10 seconds. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
Y'all know I'm a Nets fan, right?
That's Doc Rivers for you.
Y'all know I'm a Nets fan, right?
Bro, look.
Eagles.
I know you sick right now.
About Eagles.
Castro, I know you sick right now.
Let's keep it Eagles.
I respect that. I respect that. We suck though. Y'all could gloat.
Team, but you know what I'm saying? I used to be a Laker. And now I just cheer for Steph Curry because everybody seem to, like Steph.
Steph a good
Steph
dude.
Curry's him though, so it's all right.
Steph a good dude. I wish
Hey,
I wasn't a Nets fan. I'll tell you that. Sometimes I definitely wish I wasn't a Nets
Nah, but
fan.
y'all
I'll
got
give you
hey,
that.
y'all
Castro, this
loaded
is all
though.
I'm gonna say. Right now, you get to feel the pain of Sixers fans that had when we had Ben Simmons.
Bro,
You
I've been
got that
feeling
now.
the pain. It's not even Ben Simmons that's the worst part about this team, and that's the sad part. Like I've been
Are you talking about the
feeling
front
this
office?
Nets fan. Now we're good. Now I will say this: we're not good necessarily like statistically, but we're good as in the sense of like this is what I'm more used to. Like we have a mid team, and we're just I don't have many expectations, but going through that whole Kevin Durant, and I'm not gonna name the guy that's on the Sixers anymore. And the Kyrie, that was just like terrible because I loved Kevin Durant. Like Kevin Durant was one
You
of
know
my
who
favorite
fault?
players,
You know
and he just
it was
broke my
all his
heart.
fault.
He did.
It
He
was his
broke my
fault.
heart. He broke. You gotta
All of it
understand.
was his fault.
You got to understand, as a Nets fan, I went through my favorite rapper like dismantling my team and talking junk about them, and then my favorite basketball player basically dismantling my team and then talking junk about them. Like Jay-Z is my favorite rapper, and he literally made a diss track, but not a whole diss track, but he made a whole line about how he got paid to move the Nets to Brooklyn, and they're dumb because he would have done it for free. And then I got to deal with Kevin Durant, basically just it is what it is. Maybe we should have kept it Eagles talk because now I'm all upset. Now I'm mad. Now I'm mad.
Hey, just think, Kyrie would have never been there if Kevin Durant didn't want him there.
we could have been something, man. We could have been something, man. We could have been something. But I guess that's probably the best way to end this thing because we are about to get out of here. Yeah, my misery as a Nets fan. But hey, I appreciate everybody in this JAANN chat. We'll probably go like another 3 or 4 minutes, but I am going to end the YouTube side. Shout out to everybody on the YouTube side, man. Definitely hit that like, hit that subscribe. And if you guys want to join the conversation next week, we're going to do this again Tuesday. We're going to do this again tomorrow, actually. So tomorrow we'll do this again. And then every Tuesday from there on, 7 o'clock, definitely join. I appreciate everybody that showed love. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. This flag was fly. We are
All
up
day.
shit. Y'all want to say peace?
Yeah.
Y'all want to do the peace real quick? Say peace to these man.
Hey, catch y'all tomorrow, man. I'll be back with y'all.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.
Everywhere. This is for you.
Yeah. Fly was flying on the team. Touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man saw Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randall. Season hit, really time to do him in. Your boy Philly Fresco. Thanks for tuning in.
I just want to let you know if you're watching this right now, you are a special person. You are good. You waited all the way till the end. Can you hit that like for me? Can you hit that like? Just subscribe real quick. You're good, but you are a great person. I love